Week 4, Utah versus Arizona tonight. I think that's going to be an intriguing matchup. Utah was a really good team last year, knocking off USC. I mean, obviously, Sam Darnold was still developing, but Utah's a solid team, solid quarterback play. Arizona also solid team in terms of rushing. Their running games are always good, They do lose a lot of running backs, but they get a lot of them back, so this will be an intriguing matchup for Utah. I think they'll get it done. I'm picking Utah in this game tonight. It's in Arizona. It's going to be an interesting game. I think Utah's going to play really well early on, then Arizona's kind of going to catch up with them. But I do think Utah will ultimately win this game and win their. I think this is their first Pac-12 game. If not, they'll win their second Pac-12 game. If not, it's the first Pac-12 game. Looking at the next game down here, UNLV Ohio State. UNLV, terrible non-conference. I've addressed this on many occasions. Don't think I need to keep saying this, but I think UNLV is gonna lose. I think Ohio State's gonna get the win. JT Parrott and J.K. Dobbins are going to play angry again. I think this is going to be Paris Campbell's breakout game. I think the receiving core is going to do a great job in terms of getting J.T. Barrett's passes and turning them really into like touchdowns and helping out J.T. Barrett this week. So I think Ohio State continues their revenge tour of ripping teams. NC State, Florida State. Florida State finally playing after Irma. I think this is their first game. A lot of them were delayed, so basically the first game since Deandre Francois got injured. So I don't know. Florida State, they have like a 5-star QB recruit behind Francois, so I don't know how this game is really gonna go. I'm gonna pick NC State because I don't think usually when the backup quarterback comes in, those games are kind of rusty. So I think I'm picking NC State for the upset. They're already 2-1. So I think this is going to be the first ACC loss for Florida State on a lost season probably. Kent State versus Louisville. Louisville got smothered last week. This game is super cheap because nobody wants to go now after getting super smothered. Picking Louisville in this one. Kent State's trash. Louisville really needs to bounce back. I think they will. Lamar Jackson will have another Heisman-worthy game. But really missed his moment last week. Old Dominion, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's been playing well as of late, 3-0, getting huge wins here and there. So they'll get this one against Old Dominion. I think Old Dominion will be in there in the first half. They'll kind of look like they're doing something. Then Virginia Tech will pull away. Just terrible games this week. Really, Alabama Vanderbilt. Wow, didn't think it'd get worse than that. This one's on CBS too. God damn it. Alabama, Jalen Hurts, you already know. The defense is too dominant. You can't do anything about that. That's easy win for Alabama. Chalk it up 4-0. It's a first SEC game for both of these teams, and Vanderbilt's going to get demolished here. So, Boston College, Clemson. Clemson, a huge win over Louisville. Thought they were going to lose that game. Personally, thought Louisville was going to finally make that jump to being a college football playoff contender, but that defense can't do anything. Kelly Bryant and Ray McLeod going to continue their thing, along with that running back who's really good. So, Clemson creams Boston College probably. Boston College, they've always been close to some upsets, and then they just don't win. But not this week. Clemson's defense has proved elite. So, I think Clemson gets it done. USC Cal. USC's huge thriller down there last week. USC, they need to emotionally kind of get out of it. USC's have been themselves, but they'll cream this game. I think they'll come out with the fire that they came out with in the Stanford game. And this game will be easy win. I think Ronald Jones, Deontay Burnett are going to go crazy in this game. I think Sam Darnold goes crazy too, going to play really well. TCU, Oklahoma State. Oh, I think this is going to be one of the more interesting ones this weekend. I think this is like one of the rare good games this weekend. TCU has Kenny Hill. And Oklahoma State has Mason Rudolph, so it's going to be a quarterback battle, I think. And I think it's going to go to the fourth quarter. I think I'm going to pick the Cowboys to pull it out over the Horned Frogs because I just think Mason Rudolph has more experience. I do think Oklahoma State will choke in a primetime game. I just don't think it'll be this one. I think they'll get business done against TCU. and make people go, "Oh my God, look at Oklahoma State." Usually that's what Oklahoma State does. They win a couple of big games. They make themselves look kind of good, and they go into prime time and get creamed. So I think Oklahoma State gets this one. I've addressed that earlier. Toledo, Miami. Miami also playing right after Hurricane Irma. Only played week 1, I'm pretty sure. Didn't play after that. So, yeah, Miami gets the easy win over Toledo. Toledo's 3-0, surprisingly, but Miami I feel like they're on another level in terms of their program and the way they play football. So, just think Miami's going to get this one. Michigan, Purdue, I think this one's going to be an interesting Big Ten battle. Purdue's always in games. They almost knocked off Louisville week 1. They're always in games. Michigan, I've been seeing them week by week. They're kind of rusty. Cover that later. But I think Michigan, it'll be a close game in the first half. I think Purdue will stick with them. For a while, actually. I think it'll go to the third quarter, and then Michigan will do its thing, pull away in the fourth. So Michigan gets that one. I think it'll be closer than most people expect. I think Michigan, kind of need to step it up. Nevada versus Washington State. Luke Falk, Washington State. I don't know much about Nevada. They're 0-3, and I've seen them play a lot of tough teams so far. So I think Washington State gets it done. I like Luke Falk. He's a good quarterback. They have a nice running game as well. So Washington State will get this one. Oklahoma, Baylor. Now, if this was a Baylor team of the past, I'd totally pick Baylor because offensively, Baylor was usually super superior. They had Bryce Petty, RG3, but now with Baker Mayfield, the tables have turned. So I think Oklahoma was actually tied with Tulane at some point last week, but this week I think Oklahoma's going to run them over. I think it's going to be another 50-point game for them. I think, Baker Mayfield is really peaking right now. Oklahoma, another challenge out of the way, another week. Still got a lot of work to do, but they're getting there. 17 Mississippi State, 11 Georgia. I got Georgia in this one. Mississippi State looked really impressive last week, and they're demolishing up LSU, especially because the thing, and I heard this on TV too, and I think I completely agree with this statement. The athletes on LSU are so much better than the athletes on Mississippi State. So the fact that Mississippi State beat LSU was a huge surprise for a lot of people, especially me because I picked LSU. I just thought their running game was going to be so much better, but Mississippi State totally dismantled them. And I think Georgia will get this one. Huge win against Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago. I think they can ride that momentum. I think Kirby Smart's starting to turn around the program. I think Georgia's sort of, out of the Mark Richt era, sort of kind of, so they're kind of recovering and helping themselves. So San Diego State, Air Force. San Diego State got ranked after a huge upset last week. But San Diego State, huge upset. I think they beat Air Force. They're going to go 4-0. They're in the Mountain West, it's very impressive. They're playing well. They played really well last year, too, with Donald Pumphrey, best running back in NCAA history. But San Diego State's, they're impressive. So I think they'll get this win this week. Their quarterback, they're a solid team. They just sort of faltered towards the end of the year. Syracuse, LSU. LSU after the monumental collapse last week. I think LSU will get it this week. LSU will bounce back. I think Darius Juice will actually have a good game this time. But I think the only problem here is that nobody really knows what LSU is this year. So people are kind of scared to pick them because they don't really know, what is LSU, a commodity, Penn State, Iowa. I think Penn State gets this one. I've heard people saying, look, Iowa, but them going to Iowa City is a test for them early on. But Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley are solid players. Iowa also doesn't have the offense and running game and the type of solidity they usually do with C.J. Beathard and those athletes. So I do not think Iowa will put up a good fight in this one. I think Penn State will come in. They'll roll easily. It'll be 21. I think it'll be 21-10 and 21-7 or something. I think it'll be easy rolling. Auburn, Missouri. Missouri's been looked dreadful. Missouri's I don't know what they are. They were good one year, and then they've just looked dreadful ever since. I think Auburn gets this one, despite their bad quarterback play, too. Auburn, they had a cupcake opponent last week, so this week, they get Missouri, so that's another cupcake for them. Cupcake victory. Auburn getting cupcake opponents. That's how they keep going to the Sugar Bowl and stuff. Getting cupcake SEC teams. And they do get Alabama at the end of the year, but Not till the end of the year. Florida, Kentucky. Honestly, Florida won this game. Florida's defense proved superior, always. Kentucky, they're 3-0. That's surprising. You usually only talk about the Kentucky basketball team. John Calipari and those athletes down there. Not sure why this isn't in the news that much, but yeah, Florida will get this win because of their defense. Washington, Colorado. This was a rematch of the Pac-12 championship last year. Washington creamed Colorado in that championship game. It wasn't even close or anything. I think that the same thing will happen here. Colorado will stick in it in the first quarter, but I think Jake Browning, superior cornerback play. Running game, I think Washington has an edge over Colorado here. It's too obvious. I don't know, Jake Browning has a chance to go for Heisman, I feel like, if he continues his play and Washington doesn't lose, because they don't get USC this year. USC is in a different category, so maybe those two meet in the Pac-12 for a chance, for a chance at the championship or playoff. 24 Oregon, Arizona State. I feel like Oregon is only ranked because of their brand. I just don't think Oregon is really ranked because of their athletes. But Oregon will get this Pac-12 win at least. They have a solid running game. I always liked Royce Freeman. He's fast. He runs fast. Plays well, Solid player. So, yeah, I think Oregon gets this win over Arizona State. Arizona State's been bad for a lot of years now, so Oregon, their athletes, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in the Pac-12 since they're also undefeated right now. Not like Stanford. Freaking choking all over the place. Jeez. Then might be time for David Shaw to come to the NFL, right? Oh, God. Damn. A really boring week this week. Not really that many big matchups. Other than the TCU, Oklahoma State. Really boring week. It's hard to get excited about a boring week. But we'll see. Maybe there are a lot of upsets this week. Maybe I'm wrong. Usually it's those weeks. I always hear from analysts. It's always those weeks that don't look good on paper that are actually good when you watch them. So, we'll see. Maybe I just have to give it another chance. But, yeah. Week 4. We're already at week 4. Damn. Crazy.